the idea is to try and align the retirement ages. So the normal retirement age for the public sector pension would then be aligned with the state pension. As people know, that was 65 and it's up to 66. And obviously the great news that people are living longer, obviously we just need to adjust these financial instruments around them and actually make them more sustainable. So that's really the drive behind it, because people are living longer, then we have to just raise that level.
We are slightly out of kilter, aren't we, with our neighbours? The UK have done this, Jersey have just done this.
That's exactly right, yes. And it is seen to be a fair option, really. It's easily to understand and it's fair, and then it's sustainable then. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So my proposal would be to align those ages up, and it would then be very similar, reflecting to our neighbours in Jersey and the UK.
Is it important that we are in kilter with them?
Well, I think it is, really. I think that's a fair way. People can then easily understand that retirement age is getting higher, but I see that as a good thing. We're living longer, and it gives people then that ceiling, if you like, moves, and I think that's a good thing. I think work is good for people. You can learn a lot from work. You can enrich not only your bank account, but you can enrich yourself. I think we learn things, and it's really important to be, I think, in the right job and have the right career to enrich in your own life.
You've also said that you're fully supporting the move by Bill Shimmons as well, which is to close the current scheme and open a new one. Where's the cash flow going to be? I mean, I've got a tweet from Laurie Hooper, for example, that I can read, which is really disappointed by this amendment. It's unclear and doesn't resolve the underlying issue of how you find the cash flow to pay for the switch to a defined contribution pension scheme. And he believes that a transition model needs to be in place.
Okay, well, the great clear thing about that is that you actually have an end date, so you actually know when the funding gap is extinguished, so then there's no longer any need to carry that on. So that's the great thing about it, and having that policy to work towards that zero funding gap, it's then working on the detail around that. And it's not a question of having to borrow huge amounts of money straight away. That wouldn't be the case. It can be then either through growth off the economy or actually some borrowing, have that facility there for when it's needed.
This is a subject, of course, that has been rumbling away in the background for several administrations. There have been attempts to look at it. I think there's been possibly deliberately avoiding confronting the issue. Are you confident this time we're going to start to make some progress?
Yes. I think if anyone looks at this sensibly and logically, then this is the right course of action. It's the only course of action that will actually bring an end to this problem that, as you say, has been kicked down the road a number of times. And I think it's a great opportunity. This administration, has got off to a good start. This is now the biggest issue that's been facing government for a number of years, decades really. And now is the opportunity for this government to look at it in a calm way, in a logical way, and make that decision.
Have you had much response from other members? Have they engaged with you on this?
Yes, obviously there are some members that have got different opinions, but there has been some great support, and I think what we've tried to do is bring some clarity to it. We've had some number of workshops with members, a lot of officers have been working on this, but the way the proposals have been presented haven't been fair and equal, in my opinion. So I think the idea now is to bring that fairness in. It is the taxpayer that we're representing, and it's really important to have that fair, balanced view that the taxpayer feels they're getting value for money. And what I think the idea of closing the scheme and having a defined contribution for new members and looking at that retirement age, it brings that in line with the taxpayer. It brings that public sector pension in line with state ages and the way that's operated. So it'll be a fairer system. People will understand it much easier and much better value for money.